Have you ever wondered why some people seem calm no matter what life throws at them, while others feel trapped in an endless storm of worry, self-doubt, and overthinking? It is not luck. It is not that they were born different. It is because they have learned a secret, the secret of reprogramming the mind. You see, your thoughts are not just harmless whispers, they shape your entire world. Every moment you allow a negative thought to control you, it rewires your brain, it steals your energy, and it silently builds a prison around your heart. But here is the truth the Buddha understood thousands of years ago. The mind can be trained. You can break the chains. You can replace fear with clarity, replace self-criticism with compassion, replace chaos with peace. And you do not need a lifetime to start, you can begin today. In this journey, we will uncover 8 powerful Buddhist lessons that can help you eliminate negative thinking for good. Lessons that will not just change how you think, but will transform how you live, how you see yourself, and how you experience the world. This is not just about calming your mind. This is about reclaiming your life. Are you ready? 1. Awareness is the first freedom. Negative thoughts are like silent thieves, and the most dangerous thing about them is that they rarely knock on the door. They creep in quietly, unnoticed, and before we even realize it, they have stolen our peace, our energy, and our joy. They do not come with warning signs. They slip into our minds in the middle of the night, when we are alone with our worries. They show up while we are working, walking, or even laughing with friends. And slowly, without awareness, they build invisible chains around us. The Buddha taught that the very first step to freedom, the foundation of all inner peace, is awareness, or what we call mindfulness. Without awareness, we are like leaves being carried away by a strong river, at the mercy of every thought, every fear, every story that passes through our mind. But when we begin to observe our thoughts, when we sit quietly and watch them rise and fade without judgment, something incredible happens. We begin to see that these thoughts are not solid, not permanent, and not the truth of who we are. A thought like, "I am not good enough." How many times have you felt that? Is not a fact. It is simply a passing cloud in the vast sky of your mind, formed by old conditioning, by past wounds, by fears that do not belong to this moment. And here is the beauty. When awareness is present, a space opens up between you and your thoughts. In that space, you are no longer the prisoner, you are the witness. And in that moment of witnessing, you taste your first true freedom, because now you have the power to decide which thoughts to believe, which to let go, and which to replace with truth. And once you know that, your mind will never have the same power over you again. 2. Your mind becomes what it repeats. There is a simple truth that can change your life forever. What you think, you become. Every single thought you repeat is like a drop of water falling into a jar. One drop feels small, almost meaningless. But drop by drop, day after day, the jar fills completely. This is how your mind is shaped, not by one dramatic moment, but by the quiet, constant repetition of the same patterns. If we keep pouring in thoughts of fear, anger, self-doubt, and regret, what will our mind become? It will become a container of suffering, heavy and clouded. But if we begin to pour in thoughts of kindness, gratitude, and compassion, what will happen then? Slowly, we reprogram the mind to be our greatest ally instead of our greatest enemy. This is not about pretending that life is perfect or ignoring pain. It is about choosing the mental diet we feed ourselves every single day. Just like a muscle grows stronger with training, the brain rewires itself through repetition. This is the law of neuroplasticity, a truth the Buddha understood long before modern science confirmed it. Every time you choose a thought of patience over irritation, of hope over despair, of self-belief over self-criticism, you are laying down a new pathway in your mind. And here is the key: the thoughts you choose today will shape the person you wake up as tomorrow. So ask yourself, right now, what kind of mind am I building? One that lifts me higher, or one that pulls me down? The choice is yours, and you make it with every single thought. 3. The power of impermanence. One of the greatest traps of negative thinking is the belief that our pain will last forever, that the storm will never pass, that this heavy, suffocating feeling is now a permanent part of who we are. But Buddhism teaches one of the most liberating truths you will ever hear. Everything changes. No matter how long the night, morning always comes. No matter how strong the storm, the clouds always break. No matter how deep your sorrow, it will shift, soften, and eventually fade into something new. This truth is called impermanence, and once you truly understand it, your relationship with pain changes forever. It does not mean we deny or avoid what hurts. It means we hold it gently, knowing it is only visiting. A bad moment does not mean a bad life. A failure does not mean you are a failure. Even the deepest wounds, when given time, begin to heal. Just think the moments that once shattered you. Are they not now just memories? The grief that once felt unbearable, has it not softened over the years? The same will happen with whatever you are facing right now. When we accept impermanence, we stop clinging to negative thoughts as if they are fixed, unchangeable truths. We begin to say to ourselves, "This too shall pass." And with that, something magical happens. The weight lifts, the pressure eases, and even in the middle of the storm, we find a quiet space inside that whispers, "Hold on, because change is already on its way." 4. Stop fighting the mind. Start understanding it. Most people believe that the way to get rid of negative thoughts is to fight them, to push them away, to bury them under distractions, or to drown them out with endless noise. But here is the truth: the more you fight the mind, the stronger it becomes. Imagine a calm, clear pond. The moment you take a stick and stir it around in frustration, the water turns muddy, and the more you stir, the worse it gets. The mind works the same way. When we attack our thoughts, when we say, "I should not be thinking this, I must stop this thought," we are actually feeding it energy. In Buddhism, the path is not to fight, but to understand. Every thought, even the ones we hate, is there for a reason. Often, negative thinking is the mind's way of trying to protect us. It remembers old pain, old mistakes, old dangers, and it says, "Be careful, do not let that happen again." The problem is, the mind does not always know what is truly dangerous and what is simply part of living. By sitting quietly with your thoughts, by asking, "Why are you here? What are you trying to tell me?" you begin to uncover the root. And when you understand the root, the thought loses its grip. You can respond with kindness. "Thank you, mind, for trying to protect me, but I choose peace now." And something amazing happens. The mind, once your enemy, becomes your friend. The battlefield turns into a place of calm negotiation, and you realize you do not have to destroy your thoughts to be free. You only have to understand them. 5. Let go of the stories. Here is a truth that can change everything. It is rarely the events of our life that hurt us the most. It is the story we tell ourselves about those events. Something happens, a friend does not return your call, you make a mistake at work, someone criticizes you, and instantly, the mind begins to spin a narrative. "They do not care about me. I always fail. I am not good enough." But here is the thing. These are stories, not facts. Yet when we repeat them again and again, they start to feel like the truth. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a storyteller that never stops talking. It builds meaning, assumptions, and judgments on top of simple events, and we end up living inside that story instead of in reality. If a friend does not call you back, the reality is simple: they did not call. But the story we create might say they have abandoned us or stopped loving us. See the difference? The first is a fact, the second is an emotional fiction. The way to free yourself is to start questioning every story that fuels your negative thinking. Is it true? Is it the only possible explanation? Could there be another reason? And here is the magic: when you begin to see your thoughts as just stories, you realize you can rewrite them. You can replace "I always fail" with "I am learning." You can replace "they do not care" with "maybe they are busy." You become the author instead of the prisoner. And when you hold the pen, you discover that the ending to your story can always be rewritten starting today. 6. Replace criticism with compassion. If you truly stop and listen, you will realize that the most damaging, most ruthless voice in your entire life is not the voice of a boss, a stranger, or even someone from your past who hurt you. It is the quiet but relentless voice inside your own mind. That inner critic, that shadow in your head, speaks with such certainty, such confidence, that you rarely think to question it. It says, "You are not enough. You are too slow. You are too weak. You always fail. You will never change." And here is the heartbreaking part: we believe it. We treat these words as if they are absolute truth, carved into stone, when in reality they are nothing more than echoes of old wounds, pieces of other people's opinions we absorbed as children, fragments of mistakes that we have replayed so many times they now feel like our identity. Think about it. Would you ever speak to your best friend the way you speak to yourself when you are disappointed? Would you look into the eyes of someone you love and say, "You will never be good enough"? No. You would hold them, comfort them, remind them of their worth, tell them they can try again. And yet, for ourselves, we have no hesitation in delivering these verbal blows over and over, as if tearing ourselves down is the only path to improvement. But here is the great misunderstanding: criticism does not create growth, it creates fear. It makes us avoid challenges because we are terrified of hearing our own cruel voice again. Buddhism offers a completely different way: the ancient practice of metta, or loving kindness. It begins not with others, but with yourself. Because your mind is like a garden, and constant self-criticism is like pouring acid into that garden every single day. The soil becomes barren, unable to grow anything beautiful. But when you feed that soil with compassion, when you speak to yourself gently, with patience, with care, you give life the conditions it needs to grow strong. This does not mean ignoring your flaws or pretending you are perfect. True compassion is not about making excuses. It is about telling yourself, "Yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I have room to grow, but I will learn from it without destroying myself in the process." The Buddha never said, "Shame yourself until you change." He said, "Care for yourself as you would for your only child." Picture this: a child learning to walk. They take a step and stumble. Would you stand over them, shouting, "You are pathetic, you will never walk"? Of course not. You would lift them up, smile, and say, "Try again, you can do it." You would keep encouraging them until they walked confidently on their own. This is exactly how you must treat yourself. Because your inner voice is not just background noise, it is the architect of your mind. If you build with words of cruelty, you will live inside a prison. But if you build with words of kindness, you will create a home where you can rest, heal, and grow. So imagine tomorrow morning the alarm rings, and instead of that old familiar voice saying, "You did not sleep enough. You are already behind. You will not get everything done," you hear a new voice, your own voice, saying, "It is a new day. I will take it one step at a time. I am doing my best." Imagine facing a challenge and hearing, "This is hard, but I can handle it." Instead, I will fail. I always fail. Over time, this shift changes everything: your energy, your confidence, your resilience. And here is the truth: when your own voice becomes your greatest source of support, instead of your greatest source of harm, you become unstoppable. Because self-compassion is not the end of growth, it is the foundation of it. Without it, change is built on fear and shame, and fear always collapses. But with compassion, every challenge becomes a chance to rise higher. And once you become your own ally, there is nothing in this world that can truly defeat you. 7. Be the watcher, not the victim. There is a constant theater playing inside your mind, a theater with no intermission, no off switch, no closing curtain. Every day, every hour, every minute, your thoughts roll across the stage, projecting scenes from the past, fears about the future, fantasies, memories, worries, plans, regrets, desires. Some of these scenes are beautiful moments of joy, hope, inspiration, but many are painful. They replay old arguments, failures, embarrassments. They conjure up fears about things that have not even happened yet. And the strange thing is, most of us watch this theater without realizing we are watching. We do not see it as a play. We believe it is reality. If the scene is sad, we feel sad. If the scene is frightening, we feel fear. We forget that the images are not happening right now. They are only being projected by the mind. This is how we become victims of our own thoughts. We let the movie control us instead of realizing that we are the audience, not the actor trapped inside the story. The Buddha's wisdom on this is profound and simple. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that sees them. The difference between living as the victim and living as the watcher is the difference between drowning in the ocean and sitting safely on the shore, watching the waves rise and fall. When you are the victim, every thought is like a wave that knocks you over. You cannot breathe, you cannot see, you are carried away by its force. But when you are the watcher, you stand on the shore, seeing each wave for what it is: just water, just movement, just something that comes and goes. The power is not in stopping the waves. You cannot stop thoughts from arising. The power is in not jumping in after every single one. Think about how often you are pulled into the movie of your mind. You are walking down the street, and suddenly you remember something embarrassing from 10 years ago. Before you know it, your body tenses, your heart rate increases, and you are emotionally reliving a moment that no longer exists. Or you are lying in bed, and the mind starts spinning a story about something that might happen in the future, a bill you might not be able to pay, a conversation that might go badly, an illness you might get, and suddenly you feel real anxiety about something completely imaginary. This is the trap of living as the victim. You forget that these are only thoughts, and you let them dictate your entire inner world. But here is the truth. Your thoughts are not the ultimate authority. They are not facts. They are not commands. They are mental events, appearing and disappearing like clouds in the sky, like leaves floating down a stream. The moment you remember this, you take your first step out of the prison. Buddhist meditation trains this ability like a muscle. You sit quietly, the mind begins to wander, and instead of following the thought, you simply notice, thinking. You bring your awareness back to the present moment, your breath, your body, the sounds around you. And at first, this seems small, almost insignificant. But over time, this is how you break the habit of identification. You begin to notice the space between you and the thought. That space is freedom, that space is power, because when there is space, you can choose. You can see a thought like, I am not good enough, and instead of swallowing it whole, you can simply say, there is that old story again, and let it drift away. You are no longer living inside the thought, you are watching it pass by. It is not that the watcher never feels pain. The watcher simply does not become the pain. Imagine watching a storm through a window. You see the rain, the wind, the lightning, but you are not out there getting soaked. That is the power of being the watcher. You can witness anger without becoming anger. You can witness fear without becoming fear. You can witness sadness without drowning in it. And the more you practice this, the more you realize that you are far bigger than anything your mind can throw at you. The storms come and go, but the sky, your awareness, remains untouched. There is a famous Buddhist metaphor. The mind is like the sky, and thoughts are like weather. Sometimes the weather is sunny, sometimes cloudy, sometimes stormy. But no matter how dark or violent the storm, the sky itself is never harmed. The clouds do not stain it. The rain does not tear it apart. When you live as the victim, you think you are the weather. When you live as the watcher, you know you are the sky. And here is where everything changes once you truly see yourself as the watcher. The victim role begins to fall away. You stop taking every thought personally. You stop believing that every mood must be obeyed. You stop letting every worry turn into a catastrophe. Instead, you begin to live from a place of grounded stillness. The mind will still bring you movies. It is what the mind does. But now you can choose which ones to sit and watch, and which ones to ignore. You can see a thought rising and say, "No, not today," and gently return to the present moment. This is not escape. This is mastery. And mastery does not mean you never get pulled in. It means that when you do get pulled in, you notice it faster, and you can step back sooner. You can smile at the mind. The way you might smile at a playful child who is trying to get your attention and say, "I see you. Thank you, but I am staying here." This gentle but firm separation is the foundation of inner freedom, because as long as you believe you are your thoughts, you will be dragged through every storm they create. But the moment you realize you are the awareness behind them, the storms lose their power. So ask yourself right now, in this very moment, who is reading these words? Is it the mind, busy, reacting, agreeing, disagreeing, making plans? Or is it the silent awareness underneath, simply watching? That silent awareness is your truest self. It is untouched, unbroken, and free, and it has been there your entire life, patiently waiting for you to notice. And once you do, you will never again live entirely as the victim of your mind. You will know, deep in your bones, that you are the watcher. 8. Train the mind daily. Your mind is not a fixed object. It is not something you are simply born with and must live with as it is. It is a living, breathing, ever-changing force that shapes every experience you have in this life. And like any living thing, it needs care, attention, and training every single day. The Buddha understood something most people still overlook. The mind left unattended does not stay still. It decays. It falls into patterns of fear, doubt, anger, and endless craving. This is why negative thinking feels so natural for so many. It is simply the result of a mind that has been left to wander without guidance. But here is the truth. Just as the body can be trained to grow stronger, faster, more flexible, the mind can be trained to grow calmer, clearer, more resilient, and more compassionate. And training the mind is not a one-time event. It is not something you do when you feel like it. It is not a quick fix that you try for a week and then forget. It is a lifelong practice. Think about it. If you went to the gym once a year, would you expect your body to transform? Of course not. So why do we expect our minds to change if we do not give them daily exercise? Every single thought you focus on, every emotion you choose to feed, every moment you spend in awareness or in distraction, it all trains your mind in one direction or another. This is why the Buddha placed so much emphasis on daily mindfulness and meditation. These are not abstract rituals. They are the mental equivalent of lifting weights, stretching, and nourishing your body. Meditation is how you strengthen your ability to notice thoughts without being swept away by them. Mindfulness is how you train your awareness to stay anchored in the present, instead of being pulled into regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. And just like any skill, the more you practice, the stronger you become. At first, it will feel difficult, your mind will resist, it will wander, it will tell you, "This is boring, this is pointless, I am too busy." That is just the untrained mind fighting for control. But if you stay with it, if you commit even a few minutes each day, something begins to shift. The chaos in your thoughts starts to settle. The emotional storms that used to sweep you away lose their power. You begin to notice the space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you choose peace instead of panic, patience instead of anger, clarity instead of confusion. Training the mind daily also means being mindful of what you feed it. The books you read, the conversations you have, the content you consume, all of it becomes mental food. If you constantly consume negativity, gossip, fear-driven news, and toxic comparisons on social media, do not be surprised if your mind becomes restless, anxious, and critical. But if you feed it wisdom, uplifting conversations, stories of kindness, and moments of stillness, it will naturally begin to reflect those qualities. It is the law of cause and effect. What you put in is what you get out. You cannot expect peace from a mind that is constantly fed chaos. You cannot expect joy from a mind that is fed only with comparison and envy. Every moment of your day is an opportunity to train your mind toward the life you truly want. And perhaps the most important thing to understand is this training. The mind daily is not about becoming perfect. It is not about controlling every thought. It is about building the strength to come back to yourself again and again, no matter how many times you wander away. Even the most experienced meditators have distracting thoughts, moments of frustration, and days when the mind feels heavy. The difference is, they have trained themselves to notice it without judgment and to return to the present with kindness. This is the power you are building every day. You practice the power to return, to reset, to reclaim your peace no matter what life throws at you. Imagine what your life would feel like if, no matter the challenge, you could face it with a mind that was steady, clear, and kind. Imagine waking up each morning not feeling like a prisoner to your thoughts, but like the master of them. Imagine living in such a way that no passing worry, no careless insult, no unexpected problem could steal your inner calm. That is not a fantasy. It is the natural result of daily training. And the most beautiful part, you do not have to wait years to feel the change. Even after a single day of intentional practice, you can feel the difference. And after weeks, months, and years, you will not even recognize the old patterns that once controlled you. So start now, not tomorrow, not when you have more time now. Commit to even 5 minutes a day of conscious mental training. Sit quietly and watch your breath. Notice your thoughts without chasing them. Speak to yourself with compassion. Feed your mind with wisdom instead of fear. Protect your attention like the precious resource it is, because the mind you train today will be the life you live tomorrow. And if you make this a daily practice, the day will come when you realize the negative thinking that once ruled your life has lost its grip entirely. You will be free. And that freedom will not come from luck or chance. It will come from the choice you made every single day to train your mind. So now, you know, you have in your hands 8 timeless Buddhist lessons that have the power to dissolve the grip of negative thinking forever. But remember, my friend, knowing them is not enough. Transformation comes only when you live them, breathe them, practice them every single day. Your mind has been shaped for years, maybe decades, by habits that no longer serve you. And yes, it will try to pull you back into the old patterns. But now you are not powerless, you are aware. You have seen the truth. Your thoughts are not who you are. You are the sky, and your thoughts are only passing clouds. You are the ocean, and your thoughts are just ripples on the surface. No matter how dark the storm may seem, you have the power to return to stillness. You have the power to choose what you believe and what you release. And every time you choose peace over fear, compassion over criticism, presence over distraction, you are reprogramming your mind into freedom. So go, step into the rest of your life with clarity, with courage, and with love. And when your old thoughts try to return, smile, because now you know, you are not your thoughts, you are the one who sees them.